This past weekend, I was at a Pump It Up tournament. This was the third Beast in the East event. I had gone to the previous Beast in the East last year, and I did a recap video for it, similar to this one. As usual, it was completely impractical to try to get video of my matches there, so instead I just took note of what I played so that I could replay it later and show you how it was. I'm saying a lot of things here. Basically what I was saying there was, this was the qualifier song. I did really badly at it at the tournament, because I wasn't really warmed up very well, and wasn't super familiar with the chart. I had watched some people qualify before me, so I sort of knew what to expect, but it's completely different watching somebody else do it, and actually playing and feeling how my body moves when I try to follow the steps. So anyway, Meteorize D18. The previous year when I was at Beasts in the East, I'm going to talk over this, sorry, I have a lot of things to say, just deal with it. The previous Beast in the East that I went to, I had entered the lower division Pump It Up tournament, which I forget what the difficulty range was, but it topped out at like 16 or 18 or something. I entered the upper division this year because I felt like I had gotten a lot better since then, and could play with the better players. My seed for this qualifier was 22 out of the 26 players who qualified, so I was seeded pretty low. Not too surprising given my performance on it. Yeah, so this is going much better here than it did at the tournament. So everything at the tournament was played on Hard Judge. All the stuff I'm doing here in the recap is played on VJ because I have rank mode on, because I'm me. I don't play anything off of rank mode if I can avoid it. If I'm playing Prime 2, that's pretty much the only mode in the game as far as I'm concerned. So I have harder timing here and harder freeze strictness than I did at the tournament, but all the charts are the same otherwise. Anyway, so this is kind of a bursty chart, has some brackets in it. Yeah, there's one of the bursts. Couple of tricks to trip me up. I knew to expect bursts. I did a lot worse on them than I was hoping I would, though. Those are nasty. I think this right here was actually my first rank pass on this chart.
Better than it did when I played it at the qualifier, though.
Yeah, I didn't realize I hadn't done it before at the tournaments. But yeah, that was my first pass. Kind of a tough qualifier song, but not completely inappropriate. Anyway, so round 1, my match was against Major Oddish. We played Loner S19. So this tournament had a card draw system. There were a set of, 7, 8, 9 random songs chosen. And then the two players get together and... Yes, shut up, I'm talking now. Right. A few random songs were selected, and then the two players who are going to be playing them go through a process to eliminate songs until it's down to the 2 that they'll be playing. I forget what happens if it's a tie. I guess they select a third song that's on double mode, I believe. None of my rounds went that way, so my qualifier didn't go super well. I lost every round that I played. Unlike the qualifier, I was actually pretty happy with my performance during the songs, the ones that actually counted in the tournaments. But everybody I played against was just a better player than me, so that's totally fair. I was happy with my performance, so that was fine. I gave them a run for their money. I was extremely close to winning one of the 2 songs on both of the opponents I played, so it was a double elimination tournament. After this first round, I got knocked down into the losers bracket and lost there too, so then I was just out of the tournament, which is okay with me. Would have liked to do better, but you know, again, I feel like I played well for what I know that I can do. It's just that everybody else there was better. The tournament was really well stacked. There were some extremely good players there. A lot of really bursty charts came up. There was this, there was Meteorize, there was another one later, I think, too. Seemed to be a running theme of the songs that I had to play. All the stuff I'm playing here has generally gone better than what happened at the tournament, just because, you know, I'm at home, I'm on my own machine, I can play at my own pace. One thing that was really uncomfortable about the tournament, they kind of didn't really have enough machines there. for the number of people who wanted to play. Most of them were taken up with official tournament business the whole time, and didn't leave much room for free play or people to warm up before the tournaments and stuff. So I was just kind of standing around for several hours, then play one or two songs, then stand around for a couple more hours while other people play, then play one or two songs, and then I'm out of the tournaments. That was kind of what the experience ended up being like for me. Anyway, so we did Loner 19, then we did Rave Till the Earth's End 19. I got extremely close to winning this second round, but I was just a few points off of winning it. He did a lot better than me on Loner. So another aspect of this tournament, the whole weekend was kind of a mess because of a hurricane that was coming through. It was about a 4-hour, well, should have been about a 4-hour drive for me to get there. It went for quite a bit longer than that because I was driving through the heaviest rain I've ever driven through. This is just in the midst of Hurricane Michael coming through the Virginia coast. Yeah, so I was going from where I am in sort of northwestern Virginia down to Norfolk, right next to Virginia Beach, so down in the southeastern part of it. Anyway, yeah, so as I was driving right around well, yeah, pretty much the whole time, it was raining really heavily. We were going real slow on the highway, people had their flashers on, all sorts of stuff. It was stressful and unpleasant. Once I got to my hotel at like 9 p.m. or so on Thursday evening, you know, I got all set up for the next day. I got into bed, and then all the power went out. So I thought, okay, power's out, that's fine, I'm sleeping, I don't need the power while I'm asleep, hopefully it'll be on in the morning. It was not on in the morning. The heavy winds from the hurricane had knocked over lots of trees. The power company had an enormous cleanup task ahead of them to get all the power restored, and we had no idea when the power in our area was going to come back on. So my hotel had no power. The section of the mall where this event was supposed to take place had no power. I had some problems with that ending. But the other half of the mall did. The whole mall was closed just because of the power outages, so we had to do all sorts of stuff to, like, get into the mall while it was closed to set up our equipment, and eventually ended up, I say our equipment, you know, just anybody who was around was sort of helping out with the tournament organizers. We moved all of our, all the stuff, all the machines and everything to the other end of the mall, place where it had power, and resumed the tournament from there. So we kind of just lost an entire day of stuff. So the tournament had to be condensed into 2 days instead of 3, basically. At least I think that's what happened. A lot of people didn't show up until Saturday, when the event officially started on Friday. So maybe the tournament wouldn't have taken place then, even if the power had been on. But maybe people didn't show up because of the power. I don't know. I don't know exactly everything that went on, but that was my impression of it. Anyway, so I'm playing Scorpion King here. This was not part of the main tournament. This was for IPF. Don't ask me what IPF means because I don't really understand it. It's like
Why does it have to work? It's so unnecessary.
After I say that, why was I about to try to explain it? Because I don't really understand what it is. Anyway, so there were 2 songs for IPF. I tried them just because it was a thing to do, an excuse to play on the machine, basically. Scorpion King 19 was the first one, and Escape 21 was the second. Unfortunately, I am unable to play Escape S21 at home because there's something wrong with my player profile, and scores for me on Escape S18 don't save, and I need to get a score on that to be able to unlock the 21. So I'm only able to get my round 1 of IPF. Right, this was the other bursty song that came up. I think this replay here went even worse than it did during the, when I was there. Yeah, this one didn't go so badly for me when I played it, but I was having some trouble here. This song is very, very late. Hard to step on time. Look at all those greats. Anyway, so yeah, I played this, didn't perform nearly well enough to advance at all in IPF, so I didn't. Anyway, but it was fun to see all the people and everything, even if I didn't get to play very much. Yeah, it was cool. There's a bunch of friends I got to see there who I've made over the course of coming to dance game events over the last 2 years. Quite a few people who have shown up at every event that I've been to. So I guess I'm one of the regulars now, along with the rest of them.
So this went real bad for me. I'm not good at this truck.
Yeah, so anyway, this was my next actual round in the Pump It Up tournament that I was in. Right, so I was playing versus somebody who I had seen play earlier against one of my friends. I didn't know him before the tournament, but, you know, we made friends there as we played together. That was cool. He was pretty good. He beat me at both of these songs, again, like I said. I didn't win a single round, which is fine. I'll get better and win some eventually. This helps me measure my skills so I know how far I need to go. This is kind of just a nasty chart. It's 190 is just a little bit too fast. I wasn't super familiar with it either. Right, those are real. You have to actually step on those. You can't just stand there. Yeah. This is not something that I find myself playing very often. So that's one reason this didn't go too well for me. So yeah, what they had there was one Pump It Up SX with a pad upgrade so that they had the TX style panels on it for the weekend. Apparently that kit belonged to somebody else than the machine, so they had to take it back off at the end of the weekend. There was also an LX machine, so I got to play on the latest. That was cool. That one was occupied most of the time with IPF and other business, so I didn't get to play it very much. That machine didn't actually agree with me all that much. It was okay, but I actually like the older style ones with the smaller displays better. The pads were pretty much at the factory settings. I like my dance pads to be tweaked a fair bit.
That might be my first rank pass on that.
All of the pads there were a lot less sensitive than what I'm used to at home. So right, there was the SX, there was the LX, and then there was a GX machine there, which looked all broken down, was kind of sketchy. Apparently it had been in a flooded room and not even opened up to be fixed up since then. So it was surprising that it worked as well as it did. That machine actually agreed with me the most. That one was totally fine to play on for the most part. But like I said, I just didn't get all that much time to play on them. So apparently in the losers bracket, instead of the usual card draw system, I got to just pick my own song since I had lost the first round within a certain difficulty range. As soon as I saw native S20, I knew that was the one that I wanted to play, because this is a tricky, weird chart that I know I'm actually pretty good at. So again, in the second round I came extremely close to beating my opponent, but he was just a hair better than me at it. Even if I had won the second round on any of those matches, I probably wouldn't have advanced, because my opponents, again, were just better than me. They would have won the third round, probably. You never know, though. So yeah, this is a very, very jackhammery chart. I like it, though. One thing I learned while I was there was that the shoes that I use for dancing are extremely uncomfortable for standing around. So I ended up bringing my regular comfortable shoes in there and just changing out of my dance shoes when I wasn't going to be playing soon. That was actually really inconvenient because as soon as it was time for me to play, just because the tournament organizers were under such a time crunch and so frantic to get stuff done, when it was time for somebody to play, you know, you wanted to start right away, but I had to take the time to change my shoes and everything for that, so it wasn't the best. Things were very messy because of the power outage, but not much anybody could do about that, just had to deal with it. So yeah, I did pretty well on this. My opponent just did slightly better. And that was the tournament. There was also a DDR machine there. I almost got talked into joining the DDR tournament, but then I tried playing one round of it and realized that I do not currently understand DDR timing. So I decided to sit that one out because I'm not a serious DDR player at the moment. Anyway, so that's my tournament recap. I'll let you know if I go to any other events and have anything to say about them.